we see the world and we think it's the it's the things that exist around us, is what we perceive, is what we touch and smell and dream and think. Everything is being, is existing around us. And so we perceive the world as a world of things that exist. This is not the case, because these things that exists only in the perception of the mind that doesn't exist. The mind that perceives the phenomena, the shapes, doesn't exist. It's a paradox, because something that doesn't exist, us, cannot perceive existence. And yet we do that. And yet we think that we exist and the things that are around us do exist. And this is the first mistake. We don't exist. I don't exist. You don't exist. I know it sounds strange. I know I am sitting here in front of a camera and you see the body and you hear me. But in reality, all that exists is the all-nothingness that is very quiet, that has no movement in it. And inside this all-nothingness, nothing happens. What we perceive like something is happening right now is an illusion, is the illusion that we are surrounded by from the moment that we are born, that society says it is so, so it reinforces this thought, and we cannot think otherwise. We cannot perceive the nothingness, the full nothingness, because we don't know it. We never saw the nothingness. We only see the things that exist. So we believe the things that exist. And yet we are that all-nothingness. We are the thing that we cannot perceive. You cannot relate to what I'm saying because you lack the ability to see what you never saw. You never experienced it. You never saw it anywhere in your world. This all-nothingness is the unity of all phenomena, and yet it's not made of all the phenomena. It's not like you take all the different countless phenomena that exist and you take them all together and you create this nothing. This all-nothingness is empty. It does not consist, it is not built from the phenomena. The all-nothingness is not the summary or the gathering of all the phenomena. The all-nothingness is not gathering all the phenomena together in one unity. It is empty. It is the place that all the phenomena come from, and yet it doesn't contain them. It's not contaminated by anything. It's pure. Pure and simple. So very simple. It's so simple that the only way we can understand how simple it is if we think of it as the exact opposite of the world we perceive. We perceive a world, an infinite world, full of phenomena, and the exact opposite of all these phenomena, all these thoughts, feelings, dreams, shapes, worlds, space, the exact opposite of all this richness is the simplest thing. It's the most simple thing. And this most simple thing is who we are, is what we are. It's the quiet that we are. The only thing is we can't perceive that we are that quietness, that we are that nothingness, because we identify with our passing form, with the ego, with the I. So on this all nothingness that is us, we put like a garment, like a coat, and then we act like we are this thing that is on the quiet nothingness. We forget about the all nothingness and we identify with the noise. The noise is everything that is running through our head all the time. Our head and our thoughts are a living hell. It puts us through difficult situations. It makes us do things that we sometimes don't want to do. We identify with the ego, with the I, and we become that I, and we try to control the world, and we try to think what is good for us, what is bad for us, and how we can succeed in this world. And we judge ourselves constantly, and we judge others constantly, and we live in a desperate attempt to gain some control over what's happening. And time after time we're disillusioned because we cannot control what is around us. What is around us is reality, is synchronized reality of the all-nothingness. It works all the time. It's in perfect harmony with everything and everyone that is around you, and we cannot see it and we cannot tune into it. We cannot tune into it because the I gets in the way, because we identify with the I and try to gain control, and we are not connected to the all-nothingness. We go out of sync, and then we experience hardships in our lives. And this is because we do that to ourselves. We identify with our image, we act accordingly, and then we wonder why it's not going as planned, as we wanted, as we wished. Because all the time it's a disappointment for us that we couldn't gain control over our life. The all-nothingness, which is us, which is the nothing that I am, the nothing that you are, is in perfect harmony, and it works automatically. It works in an automatic kind of way. It doesn't need calculation, because the all-nothingness just acts all the time in perfect harmony and synchronism. This world is in perfect harmony, and it's synchronized with everything. The countless phenomena are moving simultaneously together every millisecond. And this is not being done by a God or something external that controls us and all the phenomena. It is all the phenomena, just divided to different forms. Our brain doesn't tell our hearts to pound. It knows what to do. Everything in our body knows exactly what to do in order to sustain itself. In a similar way, the all-nothingness acts as one body that doesn't need any direction. It has an automatic way of acting. the only thing that happens to us when we identify with our image too much, we can interfere with the synchronized movement of the all-nothingness. And this is what happens to everyone in their lives. They disturb the automatic action of the all-nothingness. It's like controlling the heartbeats. You cannot control the heartbeats. The heart knows what to do. You don't need to control it. You don't need to tell it when. It already knows that. If you would try to mess with the heartbeat, you will only be hurting yourself. And so to mess with the synchronized movement of the all-nothingness is to disturb it and to create difficulties in your life. To merge into the all-nothingness, to understand the true nature of our being, of who we are, is to try and be in sync with it. And when we are in sync with the all-nothingness, our lives become much, much easier. We gain freedom. We can be free to do other things than to control everything, to judge everything, to be obsessed. To be all-nothingness doesn't mean you wipe your personality and become nothing, because I can say that I am not identifying myself as a woman or as Simcha, my name. I identify myself as this all-nothingness, and yet this is how I appear in this world, in the world of the phenomena. And I, like you, am a very special form, shape. I'm so unique. You are so unique. I can be the all-nothingness, living without interference, and express myself as Simcha, as this woman that is sitting and talking in this voice, with these hands, with this smile, and her family and her friends and her work life, everything. I can express myself as an individual, even though I know I am one with all the phenomena around me. The only thing that I know, and I'm trying to tell you, is that you are also this all-nothingness, and when you connect to this point, you are free to be who you really are. Your unique self can only be expressed if you let go of the control and the identification with yourself. This is kind of a paradox, that in order to be the highest you can be, you have to understand that you are not you.
Nothing I couldn't say, nothing